Module 9, Listening. Listening is the process of receiving, interpreting, and responding to spoken and nonverbal messages. You might be surprised that responding is part of it, but think of it this way. If someone sends out a message, it's not going to feel like a complete communication until they know it was received. So we start by hearing, picking up sounds, and then we listen. We give meaning to those sounds. Hearing is automatic, but listening requires effort. The effort of paying attention, understanding, remembering, and responding. We listen to understand and remember information, to evaluate the quality of messages, and to build and maintain relationships. And in your work with children and families, you know that you'll be helping others. Better listeners are better able to help. Listening isn't easy though. You can feel like too much is coming in, information overload. And sometimes personal concerns are in your mind and they make it hard to listen. You probably haven't realized this, but you can understand about 600 words a minute. Most people only speak at about 100 to 140 words per minute. So rapid thought, your rapid ability to think, might mean that your mind starts to wander just because it isn't being given enough to process. And of course, during the course, especially in the perception unit, we talked about noise. What are different kinds of things that interfere with our ability to take in messages and to listen? In the text, you'll be reading about types of non-listening. We all use them. As you do the reading, try to identify the types of non-listening that you use most often. If you can work on those, you can become a better listener. The Chinese character that represents the idea to listen includes ear, eyes, undivided attention, and heart, which really is a great way of illustrating listening. So remember, the components of listening are not just hearing, but they're attending, understanding, remembering, and then responding. All listeners don't receive the same message. Physiological factors, social roles, cultural background, all of that. There's so many things that distort messages. Two people hearing the very same thing are going to turn them into different completed messages. In your text, you'll be reading about types of listening responses. As you do the reading, think about which style you should use in different contexts at different times. Generally, the text says it's good to start with responses that are more open to the other person, more reflective, and less directive, which means less of you goes into them. So silent listening is the one that's the least directive because you're just sitting there silently. Advising is the one that they consider to be the most directive because you're putting a lot of your own ideas, your own thoughts into it. So when you look at the scale, they're saying that generally you should be starting somewhere in the middle or to the left. So empathizing, paraphrasing, silent listening, all of those are very ways of taking in a lot of information. Supporting, analyzing, evaluating, and advising, they all involve more of you. You shouldn't be doing those until you have all the facts, till you've demonstrated interest and concern, and until you feel that people are ready for that. They might still be in the phase where they just need you to collect information. So consider the situation, the other person, what they're like and what your relationship is, but also consider yourself. What are your weaknesses and strengths? If you really tend to jump right into advising, make sure you pull that back. Does your questioning sometimes feel too intense to people? Work on it before you use that in a difficult situation. There's lots to think about in the listening chapter. So as you go through it, really think about how you can become a better listener.